Today we are going to start with our first lecture of this semester uh, with the space saving furniture. Space saving furniture is also known by many other names like transforming furniture, multifunctional furniture, and modular furniture. All of these types have very minor differences to them, but ultimately they all come under the umbrella of space saving furniture. As the name suggests, space saving furniture is furniture designed specifically to provide complete functionality that is expected of that piece of furniture uh, without occupying unnecessary space. And this has become very important and very much in demand because now most of the people live in apartments and small spaces, and there are growing families who have to somehow accommodate their whole family and life within small apartments, and which would be quite impossible if they still keep using the same style of furniture that we have been using for the past many years. Accommodating enough furniture, all the required furniture in a limited amount of space, demands that we design furniture that serve more than one purpose. Like a chair can also be used to store things, tables and ottomans can be used as storage as well. Because you must have seen that apartments nowadays have a very poor design as when it comes to storage. There is not a lot of storage space. There are not a lot of shelves provided in the houses, and most of the apartments don't even have storerooms. So unless everybody starts, unless everybody decides to give up their lifestyle and adopt a minimalistic lifestyle, that's not going to happen. People are going to own and buy more and more stuff, and they will need space to store it. And instead of creating dedicated spaces and shelves just for storage, which can be ideal for large scale mansions and bungalows, but it won't be possible for smaller houses and smaller dwellings. You need furniture, you need to make the most out of every square footage. If, for example, a family of three or four is living in a 200 square feet space, or maybe a 100 square feet studio apartment, or an 1 BHK, 2 BHK apartment, they're going to need, they cannot have a separate room dedicated just for storage. They're going to have to make use of every square foot of area for their, as their living space and as their storage, and to keep the furniture and everything. So that's why space saving furniture has become so important. Today, furniture is considered most by most to be a necessity and not a luxury. Good morning. All over the world, we are confronted by new demographic, social, environmental, and economic challenges, and the reinvention of systems, likewise architecture and dwelling, are also being reinvented. So, when people used to live in huts, small huts, and these thatched roof dwellings, they didn't own a lot of furniture. They used to sleep on the floor, and they used to have mostly cooking utensils and a chula, and maybe a tiny space for storage. They didn't have a lot of furniture. They didn't have sofa and a center table to go with it, and a media unit, and then a bed, and then a side table. They didn't have all of those things. They didn't need those things. But lately, uh, furniture has become a necessity because we own so many things. We don't just need a bed. We need tables to be on either side of it so that we can place a water bottle on it, maybe a clock on it, maybe store some books in the table. And we our lifestyle has become so consumer based means that we are more dependent on things that we buy, and we need to buy more things to sustain the kind of lifestyle that we live. So this consumer based lifestyle leads to more and more stuff and more things that we need to store and keep and own in our house. And that leads to cluttering of spaces, and then we need more furniture to store those things, and it becomes a problem. We run out of space. We can't just keep throwing old things out when we buy new things, and we cannot just decide whether we want a sofa or do we want a bed. We People want both of those things. And they also want a dining table which is not their center table, because they want a separate space for meals and eating. So furniture has become a necessity, and it is not a luxury anymore. Then we are by demographic, I'm sure you know, demographic is the study of population. Demography is the study of population, and we all know that human population is exponentially rising, and it will keep on rising. So we have to accommodate a lot more people over the time in the only amount of space that we have on earth, right? That is why we have stopped expanding outwards horizontally. We have started expanding vertically. What does that mean? It means people cities uh, mostly don't have space to grow outwards, to maybe start construction and development on the outskirts, because the outskirts have already become a part of the city now, and there is no more outskirts left to develop. So we develop upwards, we develop apartments, and then apartments have only limited amount of area that you can use, and that's how we are making use of the limited amount of land we have. So as population rises, we're on these small apartments are also going to be become a luxury, because we won't even have that much space to expand to. Then social challenges. Social challenges are that if our neighbor has a sofa and a center table and two beds and a guest room, then we also need to have that, because we want to live the same lifestyle that our peers and our neighbors and our relatives are living. We can there's a need to match the lifestyle. And then on the other aspect of social challenges is that humans are social animals. We need to host people. We want we like to host get-togethers. We like to get together with our relatives, our friends, and have dinner and maybe have lunch. So we need space. So we need furniture for that. We maybe we can compromise. Maybe we can say, okay, you know what? We're going to use our coffee table as a dining table. We don't need a separate dining table. But our social construct is so that we would want to invite our friends over, and then we can't ask them to sit on the floor and eat on the coffee table. We're going to need a separate dining space. Then we have environmental challenges. We already know this development. As development is becoming more and more aggressive, We are taking up far too many resources that are feasible, and we have come to the point where if we keep on taking up resources at the rate that we are using them, we're not going to be left with anything. We are already facing a, a huge wave of problems because of the lack of environmental resources. So if this keeps on move that these trends and these practices keep on going the way they are, uh, it's going to be a huge problem. Then economic challenges are we can only afford to buy stuff as far as we have resources to buy it, and we can only buy what's available in the market. If I want a multifunctional coffee table that expands into a dining table as well and all of that, but it's not available in the market here where I live, then I won't be able to get that. So economic challenges and a whole plethora of problems is in the future of our generation, our future generations, and we need to fix that. We need to find solutions to that, smart solutions and creative solutions, so that we can do something about this. Consequentially, furniture comes in all kinds of shapes and sizes, all depending on the function and purpose. The size and scale of the furniture is a matter of function and practicality. That is, the height and depth of a sofa can determine how comfortable it feels. So, when we're designing furniture, there are things that we can adjust and compromise on, and then there are things that we cannot compromise on without making that piece of furniture unusable. See, if we say that okay, I want to make a sofa space saving. So if I decrease the depth of the sofa to maybe 1.5 foot, and it decrease the height of the sofa to maybe 6 inches, then it won't be a sofa anymore. It won't be comfortable to sit on anymore. It's going to be very uncomfortable, and nobody is going to use it. So while finding solutions to make furniture multifunctional and maybe smaller and design it to occupy less space, we cannot compromise on the purpose and functionality and practicality of the furniture. So if I say that okay, I'm going to make a space saving coffee table and I decrease the size of it, the tabletop from 2 feet by 4 feet to 1 foot by 1 foot, it's not a coffee table anymore. So we need to find aspects of furnitures that we can adjust and maybe be creative about without making the furniture unusable. So there are some challenges that we are facing these days that limit the choice and design of furniture, or maybe present an opportunity for better and more mindful designs. Whenever we are faced with a problem, we can either look at it as a problem, or maybe we can look at it as an opportunity to do something creative and be innovative. So let's see what are the problems that we are facing these days, and then we'll look at some of the solutions. First of all, the most obvious problem is limited space. Due to the development of smaller apartments, there is no longer enough space to hold basic standard sized furniture like a bed a table, and a couch at the same time. The demand for smart and space saving furniture solution is therefore increasing. Okay, I going to give you an example that I'm sure you can relate to. In your second semester, you were given an exercise, a project to design studio apartments for an artist, for a musician, and a student, right? Yes or no? Did you design studio apartments in your second semester or no? Yeah, so what was the problem you guys were facing? You had to accommodate a lot of things, a lot of pieces of furniture and maybe equipment. For students, it was enough study space. For musicians, it was where to keep your instruments along with the bed and the kitchen stuff and everything. And for artists, is what it was their easels and canvases and all of the tools and things required to make paintings, to be, you know, creative without making the space feel cluttered. It was very difficult. So ultimately, what you all came down to was designing multifunctional furniture. Maybe the bed served as a storage space that can be opened. Maybe the dining table had storage underneath it, because you can fit, a bed, and maybe a study table can also be a dining table, can also be a coffee table, but you cannot just ignore the problem that is storing the amount of stuff that a person owns. So the storage is one of the biggest problems while designing smaller apartments. And also because the apartments are so small, you have to compromise that, okay, I need a double bed, a king size bed, but oh, fine, maybe I can adjust and compromise with a queen size. Maybe I can have two single beds. Maybe I can have a smaller chair. Maybe I can have a smaller table. So we, for smaller apartments, having standard size furniture has become a luxury. And life in these small apartments is neither comfortable and nor convenient. Obviously, when you are so in want of more space, you have so many furniture and things to store that you're going to compromise on the living space. And when I say living space, I mean the circulation space, the where you space you move around, to walk around. Small apartments shouldn't feel like it's just a storage space for furniture and things, and a person happens to be living there, because then the occupant will not be happy, will not be satisfied with their life. Um, when you're tired from a whole day of work, you want to go home and just lie down. But if your bed is too small, you won't feel like going home. And that should not be the case. You shouldn't have to compromise on your comfort and your convenience. Both multifunctional furniture, modular furniture, and special designed rooms that can be transformed into different living areas are used. All solutions aim at saving space and bettering safe space efficiency. So what you can do is, maybe you can have, instead of having compromising, okay, fine, I won't get a double bed, I'll get a queen bed. Get a double bed and make it a Murphy bed instead, the one that you can um, push back into the wall. and it becomes a part of the wall. So in the daytime, you'll have enough space to move around, and when you want to sleep, you can pull down the bed and use it. So in spaces like these, instead of just stacking things and cluttering it with things, maybe we can design furniture that has more than one function, and that can be taken apart. You can take pieces of it and use it for another function, or maybe a whole room is designed as a furniture to perform multiple things. So we have to be creative with these solutions. Then another challenge that we face is raw materials. To make any kind of furniture, any design, any object, you need raw materials. And since most of the furniture is made out of wood or metal, or maybe some form of plastic, it is becoming a real problem that we are consuming more and more resources every day, and people are still not satisfied because they cannot accommodate that kind of furniture in their homes. So, apart from the problem of high cost of living, the shortage of natural resources and its high price is another issue that today's people need to take into consideration. Limited availability of wood, iron, steel, and many other raw materials has become a growing concern these days. Uh, complete and entire forests are cut down to fulfill the need of wood and timber in building construction industry and in furniture and product design industry. And then the processing of wood creates a lot of pollution. It takes up a lot of energy, and same goes for metals. Casting, extracting metal from its ore, uh, and then forming and casting it into a piece of furniture also takes a lot of energy. And apart from that, processing the whole process that consumes that much energy, we are also running out of resources to replenish those raw materials. We won't If we don't have any timber and wood to process, there will be no furniture. So for furniture construction and product design, these materials are widely used for manufacturing, but they cannot be for too long because we are going to either destroy the planet in the process, or we are going to run out of those resources. So there have been studies and research in finding new raw materials, new technologies that don't take up as much resources and don't deplete the natural resources as much. A lot of different materials and new technologies have been experimented and used for production, yet it still costs a lot to pay for the advanced technology and rare material. So, see, this piece of furniture is designed mostly out of wood and some fabric and upholstery material. Yes, and these two chairs, this sofa, uh, below it, underneath it, is made out of 3D printing material. It's 3D printed. It doesn't use any wood. The seat isn't made out of The seat isn't made out of upholstery material, foam, or synthetic materials. It's just a piece of fabric. And even with 3D printed furniture that doesn't take up metal, that doesn't use wood, it's still a problem because not everybody can afford to buy 3D printed furniture because it's too costly and it is too rarely available. You can't just go out to go furniture market and Govindnagar and be like, you know what, I need a 3D printed sofa. They won't have that available. So the material is rare, and the end product is also rare, and the technology is also rare. So that ultimately makes that product too costly to for most of the people to own, and the problem persists. Then, lastly, we face the challenge of fulfilling the demands that arise from every different, maybe culture, background. See, we live in a very diverse society where people and families of all different cultures live together, exist together, and they all have different requirements. For example, in this case, the picture on the top corner shows a typical Japanese style dining space, dining and living space. See, the furniture is mostly kept on ground. There are no legs on the chairs. It is very low height. The table is also very low height, and what you can do is you can just slide these chairs right under the table, and it will become a uh, very compact setup. And when you need the chairs, you can pull them out. And then this is a typical American style living space which has no dining functionality. You can't use this as a dining space because the table is too low and the sofa is too high, and the height difference is just not practical. And it has adopted a lot of elements from this Japanese style, but only in appearance, not in functionality and not in practicality. See, they have used a lot of bamboo, which is typical of the Japanese style design and architecture. Then, but the chair and the sofa take up separate space, and they cannot be clubbed together to, you know, create a more compact piece of furniture. They are going to require their own separate space constantly. And the coffee table only serves one purpose, to keep things, maybe to place your teacups, maybe your glass on it, and it doesn't really serve any other purpose. Mm, and it cannot be used as a dining space. So this whole setup come from two different backgrounds and two different cultures, and their requirements are different. You can't tell people that no, you're going to assimilate to what this one typical style, and you cannot look back at your traditions, your culture anymore. That doesn't happen. That doesn't work. So the users of furniture and product have a lot of different requirements based on their background, their personal preferences, and culture, and even each member of a family has their own habits and needs. For example, a kid in a family needs a study table, which is smaller in height. The chair has to be smaller in height for them to use. Then maybe the elder sibling needs a separate study table that is higher in height, that is more comfortable for their height and use. Then maybe they need a computer table for separately for to place their computer. That this all might happen, and one's variation might come from a single family. So preferences also pose a challenge where, suppose I see that this is practical, the Japanese style is definitely more practical, but I want my living room to look like this. I don't want my living room to look like that. So the economy works in a very simple way. when there is demand, there is supply. So if there are people who want this setup, there will be the market will always provide with this kind of setup. So it requires the products and furniture that is applicable for all different types of environment or can be easily transformed with a variety of function. So the solution for this is uh, maybe you design furniture that can be transformed into different styles. You know, maybe in that example about two siblings, maybe design a table which you can extend and increase or decrease its height as the use or maybe the requirement arises. Maybe the chair can be, folded to a smaller height, extended to a higher height, something like that. We are only limited by our own creativity, that's all. But to be able to be creative, we need to understand what are the challenges and what are the things that we need to keep in mind. So, while designing space saving furniture, the challenge is to maintain structural stability while minimizing the amount of materials and expand the functional limits. So, what were the three challenges? One was limited space, the other one was not enough, raw materials, and the third one was that functionality and maybe the appearance will differ as per the preferences of the user. So उसका solution ये हो सकता है कि when we are designing space saving furniture, we we first of all we have to keep in mind that we have to maintain proper anthropometry. Ergonomically, it should be good, and we have to maintain structural stability. For example, if I make a extendable table that can be increased in height and decreased in height, but its different levels of heights are not stable in itself, and when a taller person tries to use it, it just collapses back down to its smallest height. So we have to maintain structural stability. It should be structurally sound. Like a building should be structurally sound, furniture should also be structurally stable. Then we can minimize the amount of materials. For example, in this example, in this sofa, uh, there is unnecessary amount of wood used up in where when in fact we could have just provided a simple frame which could be designed in an elegant way. It doesn't all have to be boxes and straight lines. You can be creative. See, like in this sofa on underneath it, they're using far less materials and it still looks good. Maybe you can come up with a better design or something like that, but the point is that you can still use less material while being creating aesthetically beautiful furniture. And then we also have to make sure that the furniture we design has serves multiple functions. It can serve multiple functions, maybe by changing its shape, maybe changing its size, maybe having multiple functions within itself. Like maybe a chair could have storage for books and stuff. Maybe a sofa can have a tiny little uh, armrest that extends into a um, small table or a resting space for glasses and stuff, so you won't need a side table, you know, things like that. So, considering all these challenges, what are the design criteria that we should follow to create good space saving furniture? See, by now, you already must understand that you can design anything, but that doesn't mean the design is good. The design can be good or bad, and when a design is good or bad doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't look good. It might look good, and aesthetics are completely um, subjective. They depend on who's looking at the design. Maybe I like this 3D printed design more. Maybe somebody likes this design more. So that's subjective. But good design means that it is technically correct, it is ergonomically sound, and it is designed according to human anthropometry, and it is comfortable. It serves the purpose. That's a good design. And then the aesthetics are completely subjective. So, for space saving furniture, we have to largely keep three things in mind. It should have variety. So, space saving furniture has one objective. One of the objectives of space saving furniture is that you have to provide a variety of functionality. You have to solve a lot of problems. You have to provide many solutions with one piece of furniture. And we should avoid furniture with design similar to existing furniture because we already have pointed out the problems and the issues that there are with the existing designs. So it would not be a good idea to keep following the same pattern. We have to break out of that pattern. So we have to design furniture that provides a lot of solutions for different functions, but the newly designed furniture should not be similar to existing furniture because then we'll have the same problems that we were having before. Second point, second criteria that we have to keep in mind is we have to be relevant and inspirational, meaning the furniture design has to be relevant to whatever the demand is in the market, whatever the need of the hour is. It should be relevant, meaning it should be meaningful, and it should be inspirational because as designers, you should design um, these products and furniture that inspires other people to do the same. Then we should keep an open mind. No preconceived ideas must guide the design of furniture. A wide range of solutions must be pursued. See, like for that sofa, uh, like I said, it's not always boxy designs with no design elements, no ornamentation. It doesn't have to be that. You don't always have to fall back to, okay, if we have to use less materials, if we have to keep it simple, then I'm just going to design something very minimalistic. We can't do that. We can't keep going back to the same solution. We have to find something new, something creative. And for that, we have to look for multi for many different solutions to the problems that we just discussed. We can't uh, go back to the one solution that make everything minimalistic. We have to find new solutions to the problems. Okay, keeping that in mind, what are the functions of space saving furniture? The things that we just discussed were the design criterias. But what are the functions that space saving furniture must serve? So beyond enabling, obviously space saving furniture should serve multiple functions. We've already discussed that many times. We already know that. But other than that, any space saving furniture should be sustainable. Sustainable in the sense, see, sustainability in the most obvious sense is using um, innovative materials to design furniture and maybe using less resources to design furniture. That is the most obvious solution, and yes, that should be adopted. But other than that, also, sustainability isn't just using recyclable materials. It is that, but also it's designing furniture that is durable, long lasting, and that can be upcycled as and when the designs, the trends, or maybe the needs of the user change. For example, you design a kid's table in a way that as the kid grows up, the table can be modified to suit the requirement of the growing child. So that's sustainability. A user buys one piece of table, one piece of furniture, and then they use it for many years to come. They don't just have to give it away, then buy new stuff, then give that away and buy new stuff. Because if we keep on including more and more products and more things in our cycle, then we're only increasing waste. And if your design ultimately after a few years adds to waste, it's not sustainable. Sustainability is everything the moment that product is created, and this process of creation, then this process of use, and its process of uh, discard. The whole life cycle of a product should take up as less resources and put as less burden on the environment as possible. Then and only then is it sustainable. If you design, a bamboo chair, which will only be used for maybe 2 years, and then it'll have to be given away, and someone that person has to buy a new stuff, it's not sustainable. Even though the material used was sustainable, it's adding to more waste, and you're adding more and more things into the system. So sustainability is everything. The moment something is created and to the moment of its demise, it should not put unnecessary burden on the environment. Then, second point is it should be inclusive. Inclusive means we just talked about preferences. Preferences. It should be inclusive of all preferences. You cannot design something that is inclusive of all preferences. That's not possible. But most preferences. Then it should be reconfigurable. Means it can be taken apart or maybe changed in a way to create something different. Then it should be durable. We just talked about it. It should, if you are investing in a piece of furniture, if you are paying money for, and you furniture is not something cheap. It's you people invest in pieces of furniture. So if I'm spending 40,000 on a one sofa, maybe 10,000 on a sofa, I would want it to last for a good amount of years. So furniture, to be able to truly be useful for the person and for the environment, any furniture or anything should be durable, and then it should be able to be upgraded. For example, I buy a bookshelf uh, that can house 20 books at the time. But then I buy more books, I buy 10 more books, and now I have to buy another shelf. No, your design should be so that I can only buy maybe a new accessory for that shelf, or maybe I can extend it, or maybe expand it in a way that it can house more books as I need to use need to house more things in it. So it should be upgradable. And lastly, furniture that adapts to dwellers' needs over time is more sustainable since it is in line with the policy of non-disposable objects. So it's basically what we discussed. It should be sustainable, as in once a person buys a piece of furniture, they should be able to use it over a long period of time, and without it uh, putting any burden on the environment. So that's what basically a space saving furniture should be like. In the next class, we are going to talk about a few more functions of space saving furniture and then all the different types of space saving furnitures there are. Thank you. I will see you in the next class.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Asif?
मैम इसमें फर्नीचर में डिफरेंस क्या होता है मैम, जो चाइनीज चाइनीज फर्नीचर और अमेरिकन फर्नीचर